Hey there, fellow humans of the internet, and welcome to our first episode of the Cosmiq generation. I don't know if it's a podcast or what, but frankly, I'm just taking too long to come out with content. And really, I feel as a shamanic practitioner, it's really important for me to bring this information out to my community. My community is the internet, is social media. So, without further ado, let's get started. Recently, Joe Rogan has brought up a couple times this development in some sort of new holographic technology where they were able to image two quantum entangled photons. How do you say that? Are they entangled quantumly or are they quantum entangled? Probably quantum entangled. Let's just go ahead and watch the clip.
Have you ever seen, they just recently made images of quantum entangled photons?
No, I mean, I know about quantum entanglement, another great mystery. I haven't seen the images.
Spooky action at a distance.
Yeah.
Take a look at what this looks like. Quantum entangled photons look like a yin yang. Like, exactly.
Oh, awesome.
Exactly. That's it. That's a quantum entangled photon.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Are you
kidding?
God.
Oh, my God.
So each one contains at its center a bit of the other.
Exactly. So maybe someone knew this thousands and thousands of years ago. The idea that the Chinese or whoever created that initial symbol, the idea that they just stumbled accidentally upon an actual image of quantum entangled photons, very unlikely.
Right.
So that's pretty nuts, right? The first thing you notice is, he knows the quote, spooky action at a distance. I don't know, and scientists don't know exactly what's going on with that, right? But apparently, you do something to two quantum particles, and now what you do to one affects the other in the same way. And this might have to do with something called superposition, that maybe these both particles are just like a facet of a higher dimensional single particle, and we're here in this lower dimension only seeing that side of it. And it could be something like that, who knows? But the first thing the other dude notices, really important, is that the opposite is in the center of the other one, just like the taiji symbol. And then lastly, importantly, maybe they knew this thousands of years ago, right? Let's start at the technology itself. I couldn't find a lot on it, but apparently it's some sort of new holographic imaging technology. Now, I don't know if it means it's true holography. Holographic technology has been around since, I want to say the 70s, and basically you use two lasers and it makes a negative on a piece of glass. And the interesting thing about it, when you shine that laser, that same frequency through it at the same angle, you'll get a three-dimensional image, and you can look at it from different angles, and everybody's seen this. It's on your Visa card. That's a hologram. Now, that negative, if you break it, if you shine that same frequency of laser at the same angle through a little bitty piece of the negative, you'll get the entire image, but at a fraction of the resolution. And that's what holography is. I don't know if it's true holography, but that's what they say. Now, probably similar to like femto photography. They're able to image these photons once they've been entangled in a quantum manner, whatever that means, however they do that. They look joined. So that'd be interesting to find out. They look bound. I mean, is that what one particle looks like? Or are those two particles spinning around each other? I don't know. If anyone has information on that, do me a favor and hit up the comments. Next, let's talk about the character itself, the taiji. A lot of folks know what the meaning behind yin and yang is, and we'll get to that in just a moment, but that's the image of what you see when you join yin and yang in your dantian. So let's get into that. Yin and yang, a lot of people recognize as, black and white, cool and hot, female and male, and these definitely have yin and yang aspects to them. Like the idea of yin and yang qi, it comes down to the idea of a negative or positive pressurization. Air pressure, that can be water pressure, that can be a punch, that can be a pull, right? But really it comes down to inward force or outward force. So air is yang or yang energy because it's held together by the particles all pushing against one another, right? Like a shower curtain rod is held in place the same way by pushing outward. And so all the air particles are pushing against one another. And that's what kind of holds it. That's what causes the pressure. The more pushing there is, the more air pressure there is. And that can affect, right, the fluid dynamics of it and whatnot. Liquid, on the other hand, would be yin energy because it's held together by all the particles pulling on each other with hydrogen bonds and all that. Now, we tend to think of negative and positive attracting, right? But this is kind of an illusion, is what Taoism teaches us. Really, like attracts like. Well, that's also true for a magnet, and I'll explain why. Two alternately pockets or bubbles of air, right, if they come in contact, will push into each other, neutralize, and their expansion will become uniform and eventually fill, if there's a boundary, it'll fill the boundary, or it'll just have a uniform expansion. Then two drops of liquid will also, once they make contact, what happens? Bloop. They stuck together, right? And they become one uniform drop of water or mercury, whatever the liquid may be. If opposites really did attract, we wouldn't have bipolar magnets. Once two magnets touch, what happens? Do they all go bloom into one neutral field? No, they don't mix together at all, the negative and positive. And what happens when you take two magnets and put them like to like? They repel, right? So that seems like opposites attract, right? Well, that's why I say it's kind of an illusion, because what happens when they do connect? Do they remain in four, like positive, negative in a chain like that? No. It's one big positive field and one big negative field. The positive absorbs to itself, and that's why they pull together, because when the opposite ends are near each other like that, here's the positive and here's the positive, here's the negative and here's the negative. This positive wants to push through, and this negative wants to push through and join the other one. And that's why they attract when they are in that orientation. But opposites aren't actually attracting. Does that make sense? Now, in Taoist neigong, they know this. That's why they have to push yin and yang together. So, let's go back to neigong. After so much time of cultivating qi through meditation, you absorb yang qi and yin qi, and over time you have so much of it, and what you do is you gather it in a specific chakra, your dantian, and you take the yin qi and the yang qi and you push them together until they fuse. You have to push them together because opposites don't attract. And when they find, and if you're able to push them together and hold them together, they'll eventually stick. And this is apparently very painful. It's a very intense experience. It's like a lightning bolt is what they compare it to. And if you can hold it for like 10 minutes, it'll stick, and then you have it forever. It's a really important step, and it occurs at one of the very primary levels. So when that happens, that's the formation that the energy takes. It swirls around itself, and it pulsates to where yin is coming from the center of the yang, and yang comes. So that's why it's able to fuse, because the inside of the one is pulling the big right towards it, and vice versa. Otherwise, it wouldn't be held together, because opposites don't attract. So, what does this mean? What can we learn from that? Well, the shaman doesn't believe in any religion or science. We just build our individual perspective on the objective reality. We don't have an individual truth. So, does that mean that when we see these quantum entangled photons and they look like the taiji symbol, Does that mean that magic is real? Maybe you're one of the believers that, hey, they actually had technology back then. It wasn't esoteric powers or anything. Maybe it's just happenstance that eventually some sort of mathematic or scientific function would form a yin yang as a symmetry, right? We've seen cymatic patterns form all kinds of beautiful design. Maybe it's that. Let me know what's your opinion in the comments. All right, y'all. Thanks for sticking with me through the deep water there, guys. I'm a spiritual guy. And, you know, some people think that's weird nowadays, but I think science can get weird. Like quantum physics, something can both exist and not exist at the same time. I mean, what even is that? You can just say that about anything. I mean, we say that about God. I could say that about me, right? I mean, see how I exist? Here I am existing. Well, I also don't exist. I'm also not existing at the same time. And you might say, but I see you. You're right there. Right, I'm doing both. No, well, if you're existing right there, where are you not existing? Nowhere, my friend, nowhere at all. You know who gave us that? Schrodinger, the guy stuffing cats in boxes. He's got the right idea. I love my cat. Speaking of which, whatever happened to that cat after Schrodinger stuffed it in the box? What cat? I'm sorry, don't feel bad. No cats were harmed in the telling of that joke, I promise. But also a cat was suffocated to death in a box.
Yes, science!
All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me for our first little podcast episode thing here of Cosmic Generation. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and if you enjoy these kind of topics and stuff, I'll be making more, and I'll try and come out with them more often. And like, share, sub, all that good stuff. If you feel like hitting those buttons, then the support means a lot to me. And yeah, I'll stop rambling, and you guys have a great day. Peace.